Just preparing for CAT is not enough if we do not know what return on investment we are going to get. So here is IIM Indore's consolidated placement report for 2024. This placement report is divided into two parts. One part is from 2023 to 2025 batch, which means the summer placements, and the other one will be the 2024 graduating batch, which will talk about the final placements. I will not be delving too much into the scores and data and all these points, because you can always download that and get to know about that. But there are some important aspects that we can derive from that data that I would really want you to focus on. So let's take a quick look at it. So here is the batch profile, by the way. Interesting thing is that this placement report contains the placement for both the IPM batch and the regular PGP MBA batch. As you know that IIM Indore offers the IPM program, which means the dual degree program for the undergraduate people. So they go for the graduation program in business administration, and then they eventually graduate as a PG student after completing their MBA, right? But of course, there are some students who take CAT exam and then they go directly for MBA. So the placement happens for both these batches together. And that's what exactly the thing is. So in this case, for example, there are 111 dual degree candidates. So that's something that you can think about, that maybe 1/4 of the candidates are the dual degree candidates, those who started early, those who thought that, okay, I want to eventually graduate as an MBA. So, they took the IPM and so on. So that's one interesting thing for us to find out. Why it is an interesting thing? Because the dropout rate for these students is quite low. That means whatever mix of students you are going to get, those of these people who are coming from the IPM program, they would be really good students and you would actually enjoy studying with them, right? Sometimes people have this thought that, I don't know whether this mixing of batch would be good or not. So this is one thing. The other thing is that average work experience for MBA candidate is around 22 months. And there are 50% of the MBA candidates, in fact 40% I would say, MBA candidates which have work experience. What does this tell us? Majorly, it seems that IIM Indore prefers freshers more as compared to other top B schools. So that's a good news for the people who are freshers. But they sort of have managed to bring around 50% of the ratio in both the work ex candidates and the freshers. And again, the other interesting thing that I found out was that around 1/4 of the candidates are from the premier schools of the country, which means 3/4 are not from these sort of premier schools. That means talent doesn't only lie here, and IIM Indore gives a holistic perspective to the overall profile of the students when it evaluates. So it is not just about whether you are coming from a top B school or not. It is also about what academic scores you have achieved otherwise, or what other things you have done apart from the CAT score that you have received. So again, a good thing for a lot of people who are not from these B schools but have high aspirations. So IIM Indore is something which would really help you. Another interesting thing which I found was this. So this is the summer placement report. The highest stipend. Now stipend is always of 2 months. Okay, so highest stipend is 6.6 lakh, which means 3.3 per month these students are getting. This is the highest one. So that's they are saying that it's 10% increase year on year. But overall, if I say average stipend and median stipend, this is more or less similar to the other B schools also, and it has been the same for many years now that I've seen. Not just for IIM Indore, plus minus 5, 10, 12% and so on definitely happens, but more or less it is the same. So there has not been a massive jump in the stipend, but there has been a massive jump in the final placement offer. So let me just break one thing to you. In the batch of 2024 in final placements, the highest package was 1 crore. So that's an interesting thing, right? But we'll also take a look at the median package and everything else. So that's an interesting thing. And within this sphere also, you would be able to see that top 100 and top 200 people have gotten quite good average stipend. So that's really nice. Basically, more or less half of the batch is sorted in terms of the stipend. Now, this is not a less stipend. Okay, I'm not saying that it is less stipend. I'm just saying that overall or more or less on the average, median and average stipend has not changed much. But that's like really reassuring. So this basically tells me one thing, that if you are getting summer placements of this magnitude, and later we'll be able to see the final placements also, that means job market, even if it is slightly slow or challenging, it is not really affecting too much to the students of top B schools. So basically MBAs are quite safe, and that's quite a safe bet that you can play with yourself, that okay, let me think about MBA, this is something that I want to prepare for. This is the set of domains. You can see the numbers, but what I want your attention to is that more or less you would be able to see that there is uniformity across many of these domains in terms of hiring. 20, 23, 25% of the batch has been hired across the domains. The minimal is IT analytics, and that's okay, because many people who are already working in IT analytics, they come for their MBA. So the core IT analytics sector is not expected to hire a lot from the B schools, but yes, there are some people who are willing to work in the IT analytics sector, say as a product manager or or a product developer, and similar kind of profiles. So that is what I wanted to show. So basically this is not sort of a coding profile and all, but it is more about a managerial profile still. Then there is an interesting thing which I found out. This one. So the type of roles are very interesting. And take a look at this one, for example. Lean consultant, operations consulting, regulatory and legal support. Within the consulting also, the type of roles are quite varied. And that's the interesting thing, because it sort of overlaps so many skills. So when I talk about lean consultant is the one who takes care of reducing the wastage. Now, a lean consultant might be providing consulting services to maybe the manufacturing company or a non-manufacturing company as well, either way. But I'm saying that this requires some specific set of skills, some specific data analytics skills and so on, but that's a very specific category, right? So it is not just the broader idea of a financial consultant and so on. So that is something which I really liked. So if you think that you want to go for some new type of roles and so on, so this is something which can provide you some sort of edge. So that's one interesting thing that I really found. Then let me just give you a quick overview of the final placement report of 2022 to 2024 batch. Final placement report is interesting. Now this is director's message. I think we should not read it for now. Okay, yes. Now in this case, again, things will not change, but here I was talking about a batch of 2023 to 2025, but in this case the batch is 2022 to 2024. Now, more or less you will be able to see that the dual degree candidates are on the similar lines. Here it is 93, the other time it was slightly above 110. Number of MBA candidates are 501. The diversity ratio is also quite well, 67 and 33% male to female. Now this is what an interesting thing is. That means again 28% of the candidates are coming from the top B schools. What does this tell us? This is not a new thing for IIM Indore to look everybody, more or less from a single lens and evaluate everybody from a holistic perspective. This has been the trend. In the earlier batches also, they sort of did not prefer majority of their batch from this. And again, around 50% of the candidates were freshers, 50% had some work experience. So that's an interesting thing. And so more or less you would be the part of, or the cohort which is slightly younger. Then this. Now see, of course, everybody would want to highlight this thing, that highest package is 1 crore per annum. But let me tell you one thing, when somebody gives you a 1 crore package, it is not 1 crore rupees in cash. 1 crore package is CTC. CTC is divided into various components, out of which there is a fixed component, and there is sometimes ESOPs and other emoluments and so on, which are not paid immediately and so on. Again, I'm not trying to discount the 1 crore package. Whoever got that, of course, must have been really a big shot. But you do not really think about a particular college on the basis of highest package, but it does tell you something, that there is significant trust of the recruiters in the institution, that the recruiters are willing to offer a package like this to a desirable candidate. Within that also, average CTC and median CTC, that's also quite cool. And again, the top 100 and 200 people have gotten really good CTC, 37, 32, which is of the likes of the top, 3 IIMs. So that's an interesting thing for me. Now, in this case also, you would be able to see that more or less across the domains, the hiring was uniform, except for IT analytics, for which the reasons I already told you. Now, this can reflect at a couple of things. See, GenMan and operations role, they generally hire quite well because the industry in India is also growing within this sphere quite well. General management roles are generally offered by the conglomerates. So there are conglomerates which are thriving. Fin sector has not been in decline for many years now, plus minus 1 or 2 or 3 percentage points definitely happen, but more or less this is something which is running the course, and because of the fintech development, I would say that this is an interesting thing. Sales and marketing also has been there, because if the business thrives, then sales and marketing profiles will also come to you. But I've seen that in couple of other reports also that I analyzed, consulting has been one of the top recruiters, followed by finance. So that's an interesting thing, which means organizations are there, organizations are willing to improve upon them. The business scenario is quite interesting and the competition is high. That's why consulting organizations would hire more people, because the organizations, the clients would want to know where they can improve. So that's one interesting thing. This is the backbone, but of course the direct hiring into IT and analytics role would of course be slightly less as in MBA as compared to the other courses. Then this is the domain overview, which you can always see. So there are some companies also which are written here, very interesting set of companies in all the sectors. So I am not going to focus as much on that, but this is an interesting thing for me. Let me just give you a bit of a view here. So PNG, so which is known as the sort of a temple for marketing roles, and PNG is one organization which offers core marketing role. It doesn't offer a sales and marketing kind of role. It offers marketing and sales separately. What kind of roles were offered this time, I'll have to of course check that from the internal sources, but that is one thing which is interesting. So if PNG is hiring from IIM Indore, so that's a good sign that you can get good candidates for this profile here. Then these are some recruiters which I really want to show. Not that I'm going to pinpoint everything, but the thing that I want to show here is that within domains, domain is one part of the role. That okay, you're from consulting, you're hiring for finance and so on. But I'm saying that within industry also, it is quite heterogeneous. For example, take a look at this one. There is telecom company which is hiring. So there is a telecom company which is hiring. Then operations organizations are there. Then consulting organizations are there. Ebb and Bev, which is the liquor organization. So everything more or less is there. So that again comes within the sphere of fintech or credit card division and whatnot. Atomberg, quite a technical company. This is, I think, the organization which brought these new types of BLDC fans into the country, which take less electricity. Just giving you a bit of information. So I'm just telling you that across the spectrum, in terms of various types of industries, have hired from IIM Indore. So this gives a good picture about the institute's health, what kind of education they provide and what kind of opportunities they bring up. So that's an interesting thing. So if you are aiming for IIM Indore, or if you think that whether I should aim for IIM Indore or not, I think this should give you a sufficient picture. And this is where I think I should conclude my discussion on the placement report of it. This is, by the way, their placement cell. So that's, I think, would not be relevant for the discussion right now. So that's all. I hope this information was important and useful for you. If there are any more questions, please put them in the comment section so that we can answer them. If we cannot answer them directly, we would try to reach out to our representatives in the IIM Indore, and we'll try to get as much information as we can. All the very best.